Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the Colombians Football Report. Today we're going over day 13 of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Now before we get into the video, make sure that you subscribe to the channel because 83% of my viewers are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure you subscribe so that I can continue to grow and make better content in the future. Now let's get to the games, and the first game that took place today was Portugal versus Uzbekistan. And Portugal needed to win this game because obviously they tied the first game against the DR Congo 1-1, and Colombia beat Uzbekistan. So that meant that Portugal were 2 points behind Colombia already. So this was a must-win game, and Ronaldo, he needed to show up because he had a poor performance in the first game. But thankfully for Portugal, everything went right for them today. They started the game pressuring high up the field. It was obvious that they were looking for that early goal, and they got that. And it was Cristiano Ronaldo who finally scored. He finally has that weight off his shoulder. I think the stat was that he went 10 or maybe 11 games without scoring a goal in either the World Cup or the Euros for Portugal. Well, that streak ended today, and it was a great finish to be fair. Good cross from Cancelo, and Ronaldo, he just smashed it in. It was a great finish, and that goal was historic because that goal made Cristiano Ronaldo the first player in history to score in 6 different World Cups. And this is an incredible record. I really struggle to see anyone breaking this record anytime soon because it's just a insane record. Not even Messi has this record because in the 2010 World Cup he didn't score a goal. So what Cristiano Ronaldo has done today is truly historic and is something to really give him credit for. And for the next few minutes, Uzbekistan were really struggling to get out of their own half, and they gave away a very dumb free kick. And everyone thought Ronaldo was going to kick it. He was even preparing himself. But it turned out to be a trick because Ronaldo did not take it. It was Nuno Mendes out of nowhere. He came and he shot it right into the bottom corner to make it 2-0 for Portugal. Fantastic goal. And it's very smart because everyone thought that Ronaldo was going to shoot the free kick. But in the last second, Nuno Mendes, he went and he just scored it. So that left Uzbekistan very unprepared. The goalkeeper, he didn't expect it either. So it was just a brilliant goal. Good teamwork on the free kick. And Nuno Mendes, easily the best left back in the world. He's so good. And after that second goal, Uzbekistan, they badly needed to go and attack. They couldn't defend anymore. They had to go on the attack to try to at least salvage something. And they did actually score, but it was disallowed because there was a foul in the build-up. And it's a huge shame because the goal that was scored was a brilliant goal from outside the box and went into the top corner. It was a fantastic finish. But yeah, it didn't count because there was a very obvious foul before that. And Uzbekistan, they continued to try to push themselves higher up the field, obviously because of the desperation of trying to get themselves back into this game. In a game where they really needed to at least get a draw. But due to their high line in this game, eventually it led to their downfall as Bruno Fernandes was in a lot of space. He just passed it to Cristiano Ronaldo, who was making a run, and he scored his second goal of the game, his second goal of the World Cup. And Ronaldo broke another record. He became the oldest player in World Cup history to score a brace at the World Cup at 41 years of age. Truly very impressive stuff from him. And I would say, even besides the 2 goals he scored, he was very good today. He got himself involved a lot in the play. He was dropping deep at times, and he just played well. He looked much better today than in the last game. And it was already obvious that Portugal had already won this game. And then in the second half, Uzbekistan, I mean, it was kind of the same as the end of the first half. Uzbekistan, they were trying to build something, but they just couldn't. And Portugal were clearly the better team. And from a corner kick, an own goal was scored from Uzbekistan. Very unfortunate. And at the last minute, Leao, he scored a pretty good goal. Very good finish from him. And because of that, Portugal won 5-0. That was the win they needed. That's the confidence booster that Portugal needed. Next, we have England versus Ghana. And England, of course, came off the back of that very impressive 4-2 win against Croatia. They played very well in that game, and that's despite the fact that Croatia were pretty good in that game. They, especially in the first half, they gave England some problems on counterattacks, but then England, they just dealt with them in the second half. So they had a very good performance in the opening day, but this time they did not live up to their expectations. They were unable to beat a Ghana team that really just sat back for the whole game. They had some counterattacks here and there. In fact, one counterattack led to an action that could have easily been a penalty, but it wasn't called by the referee. I saw a lot of people on social media complaining about it, and it is really hard to tell if it was a penalty or not. But that was the only true memorable moment that Ghana had throughout the game, in the attack at least. I mean, most of the game was just England dominating possession, England getting shots, but they really struggled to break down Ghana. And when they did, the goalkeeper Asade, who plays for Hearts of Oak in the Ghanaian league, he was there to save them. And I feel like this is why we love the World Cup, because a Ghanaian league goalkeeper had a masterclass and kept a clean sheet against an England team with Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Arsenal attackers. Like, that is just incredible. Harry Kane had a very good moment to score, but he skied it after a couple of rebounds after the goalkeeper saved multiple shots. And Ghana's defense, they had a very good game. They were very well organized. And this is what I expect from a team coached by Carlos Queiroz. He always has them organized relatively well defensively. And it's a disappointing draw for England, but I don't think England fans should panic because it's just one bad result, but I don't think it's gonna have a huge effect on them in the future. I still think they'll win the last game, and I still think they're gonna top the group. So this draw, while it's not ideal, it's also not the worst draw ever, I feel like. Especially since I think Ghana are gonna actually struggle to beat or even get a draw against Croatia next game. So England should still have that first place secured. They just need to beat Panama, and they should be able to do that. And speaking of Panama, they have been eliminated from the World Cup. They are the fifth team to get eliminated from the tournament, and they are the second team from CONCACAF to get eliminated from the tournament. Now, I will say, I don't think Panama deserved to get eliminated this early. I think they deserve to at least have a chance of going through in the third game, because in both the first game and today, they did not play bad at all. In fact, both games were very similar. Panama against Ghana, at times they look like the better team. And Panama against Croatia today, again, they look like the better team at times. And that really surprised me because I thought Croatia were going to get the win here easily, especially since they gave England a relatively tough game. But Panama came up there and they surprised Croatia. And this was a crucial game because the loser of this game would get eliminated. If they drew, they would still both have a chance. But Panama, they were just very well organized. I really liked the game that Martinez played. I think he was all over the field. Very interesting player. And Livakovic on a couple of occasions had to make some big saves. But despite that, Croatia in the second half, they were still able to take the lead after a great cross from Stanisic found Budimir, who came off the bench, and he tapped it in. A crucial goal for Croatia. A goal that gave them life at this World Cup. And after that, Croatia, they still had shots from counterattacks. Most of the time when they do have attacks, it's from the counterattacks. That's how Croatia have always played. But Panama, they were definitely trying to get themselves equalized with Croatia. They formed some attack. They tried to get some shots off. But again, Livakovic was always there to respond. And they just couldn't have many good chances, clear-cut chances. And none of their strikers really showed up today. And that resulted in Panama getting eliminated from the World Cup against Croatia. So their last game against England, while England still have everything to play for because they're going to be fighting to get first place, that game for Panama is basically worthless. The only thing they can try to do is get a shock result or to try to get a goal so that their fans can at least celebrate something. But the World Cup is over for Panama already. And now that we talked about both games that took place in this group, this is the situation. England and Ghana are tied on 4 points, but England are top because of their goal difference. Croatia are third place, and Panama are eliminated. And England play against already eliminated Panama in New Jersey. You would expect England to win that game and by multiple goals, so that should be able to give them first place in the group. Meanwhile, Croatia, Ghana is a direct fight for second and third place. Now, if Ghana finish third place, I actually have a lot of confidence in them going through because 4 points should be enough to go through as a third place team. But if Croatia lose, they could be in serious trouble. So Croatia, I am very confident they're going to go out there and try to get that win against Ghana. It will be a very interesting game. Both teams are fighting for that spot. And I feel like they're teams with similar play style. They both like to defend and then go on to counter attacks. But in this game, they both kind of have to attack. So it'll be interesting to see what changes they make in their own play style for that game specifically. And the last game that took place today was my national team, Colombia, against the DR Congo. And I was nervous for this game, especially after seeing Portugal score 5 on Uzbekistan. That made me very worried because we actually struggled to that same Uzbekistan team. And this DR Congo side, they tied against Portugal, and they honestly maybe even deserved to win. They had some very good counterattacks in that game against Portugal. So I was definitely a little bit nervous for sure. But today, Colombia, they played very well. They played even better in this game than they did in the last game. And I know it doesn't look like that because the last game we won 3-1, and this one we won only 1-0. But that's the reality. We played much better today than we did last time. We played in Guadalajara. The stadium was full of all of the Colombian fans. There was a small section of DR Congo fans, and obviously the famous fan who stands like a statue for the whole game. He was there, so that was very cool to see. But yeah, it was like 95% Colombians in the stadium, and that always helps. It always helps to have home advantage in these type of games. And Colombia from the start, they looked very good. They were pressuring high up the field. They were forming attacks. But every time Colombia formed an attack, there was always Empassi there to make a save and to stop it from scoring the goal. Also, Daniel Munoz, he scored a goal, but it was ruled out for offside. It was a very close offside. He was offside by just a little bit. And like I mentioned, Empassi, the goalkeeper for DR Congo, was just saving everything. Multiple good shots from James Rodriguez, from Puerta, from John Arias, from Luis Diaz, but nothing could go in. But those first 23 minutes before the first water break, Colombia were playing very good. That type of football I haven't seen Colombia played in so long. In fact, that reminded me of the Copa America Colombia, the one from 2 years ago. They really did play that well in those first 23 minutes. After the water break, they slowed down a bit, and DR Congo, they started to get a little bit more into the game. But they also didn't really have dangerous chances either. And it went to halftime 0-0. Very frustrated because we were obviously the better team. We deserved to be winning the game, but we just couldn't get the ball into the back of the net. And in the second half, we started attacking again. We could have scored very early in the second half, but Empassi was there again to make another brilliant save. It really was getting frustrating, and eventually Luis Javier Suarez and James Rodriguez were taking off Suarez because he wasn't getting much participation in this game. Suarez is a player who usually struggles against defenses with five at the back. He's much better against teams that are a little bit more open. Meanwhile, James, he just doesn't have the legs to play any more than like 65 minutes. So it made sense that he came off at the 58th minute. And we brought on Cordoba and Quintero. I like both changes. I think both changes were needed, especially Cordoba because that DR Congo defense was very hard to break down because they're all very strong, physical, and they're compact. Like they're set up well tactically. Like you would never see a defender being put out of position. They were just always there in the right place, and it was very hard for Colombia to break that down. So we needed Cordoba to come on because he's a bit more of a physical striker, like an old school target man, if that makes sense. And that change was brilliant, and same with the change of Quintero because both of them got involved in the goal we scored. Quintero made the assist to Munoz, and Cordoba, with his strength, he was able to kind of like block a defender from getting the ball before Munoz did, and that led to us scoring a goal. The goal took a deflection, but it didn't matter. It's still an important goal for us. We finally got past Empassi, and we deserved that goal because we were playing much better. And then we had two goals disallowed after that. One of them was very harshly disallowed, which was Luis Diaz's first goal that he scored that was disallowed because the goal was disallowed because apparently he made a foul on Mbemba, I think it was. But upon replay, it really didn't look like a foul. It looked very, very soft. But, after those two chances, Colombia, they didn't really attack more. They tried to, control the game a little bit more. And near the end, they definitely went more defensive, especially when they took off John Arias for Richard Rios. And the only real dangerous chance that DR Congo had in the entire game was at the end when Camilo Vargas had to make a save from outside the box. It was a very good strike from one of the Congolese players, and Camilo Vargas had to get down low to save that shot. But we still held on and we won the game 1-0, a crucial win. now have 6 points. We are now in the round of 32 already, and we just need a draw against Portugal in Miami to finish top of the group. I would also like to give a shout out to Davinson Sanchez. He was a monster at the back. He was just intercepting everything. Lukumi was very solid today as well. And Johan Mojica had a rare good game. It was very nice to see Mojica finally perform to the level that we want him to perform at. And 22-year-old Gustavo Puerta, of course, he had a great performance. He's definitely getting a transfer to a bigger team after this World Cup because he's just such a great player to watch. So now this is a standing. Colombia is top with 6 points, Portugal second with 4, DR Congo with 1 point, and Uzbekistan with 0. Uzbekistan still have a small chance of going through, but they need to win against DR Congo, and they need to hope that their goal difference improves or that there's teams with worse goal difference than them, because because otherwise they could still get eliminated even if they finish third. And the DR Congo, they need to win. If they win, they will most definitely be one of the best third place teams. And they would even have a small chance of finishing second, but I'm going to say it's very unlikely because the goal difference between Portugal and DR Congo is huge. There's Portugal have a +5, DR Congo a -1. So it would be very difficult for that to happen. Meanwhile, Colombia, we need to finish top because if we finish top, we have a much easier run. Because if we finish second, the run could be very difficult. It's a run that includes teams like Croatia, Spain, England. Meanwhile, if we finish top, I'm not going to say our run is still going to be easy because it's the World Cup and there's never easy games. But we could face teams like Ghana, Switzerland, and then Argentina. So only one top team in that run. Meanwhile, if we finish second, we will have to play 3 top teams in Croatia, Spain, and England. So obviously, I want to finish top. Colombia needs to finish top. They need to hold on to the result, at least get a draw. But don't try to sit back from the start. Go attacking. Go try to look for that win, especially since they're going to be playing in Miami, and that's basically a home game for Colombia because there's so many Colombians in Miami, and the weather is basically the same as the weather in Barranquilla, which is where Colombia plays their home games. So Colombia will probably have an advantage there over Portugal, and Portugal need to beat us to finish top of the group. We only need a draw, so there is at least that margin of error. We could drop points, but if we still draw the game, then it's not a big deal. Meanwhile, Portugal, they have to win COC. That's we say in Spanish, which means you have to do it. No ifs, no buts. So that will be a very interesting final day in Group K. So that's going to do it for the video today where we went over all of the games that took place on day 13. Make sure to leave a like on the video, and make sure to subscribe to the channel, like I said earlier. And I have nothing more to say, and have a good night, everyone.